Okay, now we're going to start graphing. Here we go. We have all the components. We're familiar with some of the characteristics. You know period, you know amplitude. You know how to look at the equation and find the period in the amplitude. Now you're going to understand how to graph the sine and cosine curve. So graphing sine and cosine. They call them function. Oh, great. Sorry. Graphing sine and cosine. They call them functions. We're going to just call them these curves, right? These graphs here. These functions. Graphing sine and cosine curves. Okay, so I kind of been hinting at this. Let's look at the sine curve first. What are the characteristics of the sine curve? Okay. Well, we kind of have two of them. There's a positive sine curve and there's a negative sine curve. So let's look at the positive sine curve. I'm going to draw an x and a y axis here. An x and a y axis here. And also one, guess I'm not going to have room over here, am I? I think I did it too much. I guess down here then. No, I'll try to squeeze it in here. Okay. You're going to have your amplitude. You're going to mark that value off, right? Same distance. And look, see, this already looks shorter than this. So that's going to make your curve look weird because it's going to go higher here and lower here. So whatever this amount is, make sure it's almost kind of, don't look at that right there, right? And your period is going to be whatever this mark is out here, whatever the period tells you. And then you're going to mark it off in half, and in halves we're going to use 4. We've been doing that. Okay, the graph of y is equal to, or f of x is equal to, sine of x. If it's a positive sign, we're just looking at positive sign and negative sign. We're not looking at amplitude and period and all that yet. If it's a positive sign, the graph of sine starts at 0, 0. It starts on the midline, on the x-axis in this instance. And then these marks, at each of these marks, you're either going to be going up or down or middle. So this is middle, and then this one's positive, right? Because this is positive, it's not a negative sign. Then we're going to go up. Positive is up. So then at the next mark, we go up. We're not going to go up anymore, so now it's going to come. The next mark, we go what? Middle. And the next mark, we go down in middle. So this is the one that looks like this. Some nice curves right there. That's a positive. And again, later you'll put the numbers for the amplitude and the period. I'm not talking about that. We're just talking about graphing a positive sign and graphing a negative sign. Now look at a negative sign over here. I'm going to graph y is equal to negative sine of x. Remember when I told you that you see a negative here? Your amplitude is never negative. It's going to be the same distance this way and this way. Distance is not negative. But this negative tells you that it's going to be going a different way. We're still going to have our 4 marks here. We're still going to follow that. We're still going to mark off your amplitude and the same amount over here so it doesn't look like weird. And these should look like nice equal increments, or else it's going to look weird. One will be shorter or thinner and the other one will be fatter. If it's not, this one will be shorter and this one will be longer. It's going to look weird. Okay, they got to look nice and symmetric and curvy. Okay, for this one, if it's a negative, if you see a negative in front of here, pretty much all of it's going to be the same. You're still going to start here at 0, 0, but instead of starting up, right, because this one was positive, so we started up. The only difference is you're going to follow this kind of same behavior, but instead of going up, you're going to start with this first point down. Down, middle, top, middle. See, after every mark, there is a point. There's a little location point that's going to help you, it's going to guide you to graph this. And this one is going to look like this. All right, this one's going to look like this. And if everything is hopefully a little symmetric, it'll look nice. So positive sine curve, both of them start at 0, 0. The sine curve starts here at 0, 0 on the axis or on the midline. Remember, the middle line is the line in the middle where the graph is oscillating. Here's the midline for this one. Here's the midline for this one. Okay? If it's a positive sign, the first point starts going up. It starts going up first. If it's a negative sine curve, instead of going up first, it starts down, under, and up. That's it. That's the only difference. Let's look at the cosine curve. Cosine curve. Almost the same, but not. Why can't I spell curve today? The cosine curve. I'm going to do the same thing. I'll do them side by side. All right, so we're gonna have, whatever the amplitude is, we're gonna mark it off, same, right? Try to get the exact same distance, the exact same height, and the exact, not shorter, not longer, exactly the same. And then we're gonna mark off our period over here, whatever that period is. And then we're gonna go in fourths, like we've been already learning. Make sure that's exactly the half, and then half of that, and then half of that. And this should look like equal increments. That's going to be really important so your graph doesn't look all warped. Okay. This is going to be the graph of y is equal to positive cosine of x, or theta, remember? Sometimes they'll use x, or sometimes they'll use theta. And this one's going to be when it's positive, when it's a positive cosine. And then for this one, I'm going to do y is equal to, and then that's all we're looking at this video. How do you graph a positive cosine curve, and what does it look like? And then what happens if it has a negative in front of it? That's all we're seeing in this video. We already looked at sine. We understand sine starts here. And if it's positive, it opens up. And if it's negative, it starts here and it goes under. Okay, we understand that. That's all I want you to understand right here. Now, for cosine, how that graph looks, how that curve looks. We got positive cosine, we got negative cosine. The positive cosine curve does not start at 0, 0. That's how I know it's not a sine. Only the sine starts there. Cosine's going to start on the y-axis. So guess what? If it's positive, where's the positive on the y-axis? The upper half of the numbers or the lower half of the numbers? Well, up here, the positive, your cosine's going to start on the y-axis, on the positive on the whatever that amplitude is, it's going to start there. And if that's a maximum point, then you start what? Top, middle, down, middle, and that's the one that looks like this. Okay, that's the one where you have half of kind of like the U here, half of the bottom half right here where you can see the whole thing of it. And this one is not going to be the whole thing complete around, but you got half of it here and the other half of it here. Okay, so this is one complete bottom half. Yeah? And this one, see this top half? You don't see the whole top half like this, right? I hope you understand that it's this part of it right here. Like if I were to look at this part of it right here, would be this part. Yeah? And this other half is over here. And that's over here, right? That's the second part over here on this side. And when you connect these two together, it makes the top half. It makes the top half. So don't graph it like this. I better not see this. I better not see you graph sine like this. Some people do this. Right? They'll do this. And they just make it look like a U. No, it better not look like a U. This part looks like a U. This part is like a parabola kind of. And this one better curve out like half of the U here and the other half over here like this. Okay? Don't make it look like that. Okay, so long story short, again, positive sine, positive cosine, we're looking at cosine, sorry. Positive cosine will start on the y-axis, on the positive value of the y-axis. Gee, I wonder what the negative cosine is going to do. I wonder where it's going to start. It's not going to start there. It's not going to start on the positive value of y. It's going to start obviously at the right here, down here at the negative. Correct. And then you're just going to follow this, and it's going to start going middle, top, middle, down. Okay? And then this one, this part is where you see the whole half of it. Okay, I see that. And then this one's the one that's kind of broken into two halves, like that. They start looking a little weird. See how this space and this space are different. See once your increments are a little off, it just starts looking off because they're not equal. But just try your best, right? And this one I have I could see a complete bottom half here, and this is the one where this one got split into two halves. Yeah, that's half of it, half of that bottom half here, and the other. There. Okay. Positive cosine starts on the y-axis. If it's positive, it starts on the positive up here. If it's negative, it starts on the negative. And then it oscillates. It starts oscillating. Okay, that's how we graph positive cosine, negative cosine. Positive sine starts here, up. Negative sine starts here, under. Okay.